I do broiled salmon, and I dredge it in the adobo and the sazon because that skin gets crispy and it has that flavor on it and a little bit of the salt on top of that as well. You have it with some, what do you call that, lime cilantro rice.
Ooh, yes. I'm Delia Colon, and this is The Zest, citrus, seafood, Spanish flavor, and Southern charm. The Zest celebrates cuisine and community in the Sunshine State. Today, we're taking a trip to the bodega. Supermarkets and big box stores are great, but nothing beats the feeling of shopping in a bodega. These small, often family-owned convenience stores are a fixture in New York City's Latinx neighborhoods. In them, you'll find everything from milk and lottery tickets to hot foods like empanadas and chicken with yellow rice. Ivette Rivera wanted to bring the spirit of bodegas to her adopted home state of Florida, so she founded Loiza Foods. It's a company whose signature product is a line of seasonings called Bodega Flava, and Flava is spelled F-L-A-V-A. The Tampa resident visited our studio at WUSF. In this conversation, Ivette shares how she went from, get this, sleeping in her vehicle to creating a food brand that celebrates what she loves about being Puerto Rican. Here is Yvette's story from car to cocina.
My family's from New York, so I'm definitely a New Yorican. I personally was born in South Jersey, in Camden, New Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia. So along with the regular Puerto Rican staples of the arroz con gandules and the pernil and the pasteles, I have my regional food, which is the cheesesteaks and the hoagies from Philly. And then in New York, you got to get a Jamaican beef patty, have them cut it open, and throw that cheese in there, or it's not really a beef patty from New York. So have my cultural as well as my regional foods.
Love that. And then what brought you to Tampa? You live in Tampa, right?
That's correct. I've been out here a little bit over 30 years. I relocated in the early 90s. At that time, Tampa was really this little quaint city that was very business-oriented and a lot of green, and not wanting to raise my kids in New York City. Me and my spouse at the time, we relocated to Florida, and I've had my roots here since.
Love it. Okay, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Now, what is a bodega for people who don't know? And then why did you choose to spell flava with so much flavor?
Okay, great. Bodega is very specific to the New Yorican culture, especially if you're growing up in New York, and you could put it to any major city that you have New Yoricans in. Other than your social club, that's your other social point in your neighborhoods. It's that corner store. Because at the time, there weren't supermarkets around, so the bodega was like the hub for everybody and everything in the neighborhood. And it just became this part of life, especially when you're in the city. Flava is because of the soul of my brand. It is that sense of community going back to the Puerto Rican diaspora, and that's where my family and my bloodline descends from. I wanted to put that soul and that feeling into my brand and into my seasonings as well. I wanted to be representative of that sense of community and culture going back to the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, which laid the foundation for the New Yoricans and the other immigrant cultures who laid their roots down in New York and, have their descendants now, the seeds that they planted, getting shaded under those trees.
Oh, I like the way you put that. Where in Puerto Rico is your family from, and have you been, I don't want to say back because it sounds like you're from here, but have you been to the motherland, La Isla?
I haven't been yet. I'm hoping to take my first trip this year. It's been a long time coming. My father's from Arecibo, and my mother's from Santurce. I was able to trace my family roots back to Loiza, which is why the company is named Loiza Foods. I wanted to bring representation to our West African roots because it's a topic of discussion within the Puerto Rican community where sometimes it becomes very divisive, but we're really, our bloodline is really of three. It's European, it's African, and it's Taino. And there's so much African influence in our culture, in our food, and in our flavors that I had to represent them because it's representative within my family. I see it in the faces of my elders and in my children. So I just had to make that inclusive.
Oh, I love it so much. And Puerto Rico has a special place in my heart because my husband was born there, and that's how I got my last name, Colon. People think I'm Puerto Rican. I'm just Puerto Rican by association, but I've gotten to go many times. And even as you're describing the people, I'm picturing just being on the island with the palm trees and the music and the scents wafting through the air. So we got to get into the flavas because we're going to take you now, listening, on a field trip to Puerto Rico. What do we have here? You brought some goodies for show and tell.
Yes. With Loiza Foods, our first offering is Bodega Flava Latin seasonings. I wanted to offer something that was going to be healthy. I didn't want to put another product for Hispanics and everyone in general that had a lot of salt into it. So people really, really like the sazon, and the sazon is salt-free. It is also all natural. We're working on an organic version of it, but it's colored with achote. There aren't any preservatives, no artificial colors. It's as healthy as you can get it at this point in time with my current recipe.
What is in that? And I was very surprised to see no salt in most of these. That's really unusual.
Right, and it's because women of color, we have a high incident of heart disease and heart problems. If it's not number one, it's number two within our culture. So I did not want to put out a product that had salt in it because we're already dealing with high blood pressure and all sorts of heart issues that I didn't want to put a product out there that was going to contribute to that. So the flavor's in the jar, but the salt isn't in there. Neither is the anything artificial. I'm trying to keep it as clean as possible, so that you know what you're putting into your body, especially if you're maintaining some type of condition as far as high blood pressure.
That's amazing. Okay, and then you can always just add your own salt, because a lot of times these seasonings or like seasoned salts, you want more of the flavor, but you don't want more salt, and you can't separate the two.
That's very true. And actually, one of the other offerings that I have is Puerto Rican sea salt, which I could not find anyone else offering.
Ooh, keep shaking it. Now we're having like a little... That's great. Okay, now I feel like I'm at a concert. All right. Okay, so this is premium Puerto Rican finishing sea salt using salt from Cabo Rojo, Puerto Rico. So how do you even get salt from Puerto Rico, and why was that important to you?
It took me a while, but it was very important to me because I wanted to, number one, support artisans on the island, because it's very difficult, especially when it comes to food products, for them to export due to the Jones Act. So part of the reason why I was a little bit of a delay launching the company was because I wanted to find an artisan on the island who was able to produce the salt for me. And I was able to find someone in Cabo Rojo, which they actually mine the salt, and they send it to me, and I grind it and I bottle it. What I eventually would like to do is to have all of my products tie back to a farm in Puerto Rico. As many of these, because some of these products, they don't grow in Puerto Rico. But if it grows in Puerto Rico, I'd rather work directly with a supplier in Puerto Rico and put money into those farms and into that community, as opposed to buying from another supplier. I really want to give back to the island and to the people. So with the sea salt, I was able to find an artisan in Cabo Rojo, and no one else is offering Puerto Rican sea salt. You see Himalayan sea salt, you see Celtic sea salt. Puerto Rico's surrounded by water, but no one's selling Puerto Rican sea salt. So I was like, I'm going to offer that, because even if you're monitoring your salt intake, the adobo and the sazon, they don't have salt in it. You have the Puerto Rican sea salt, plus it's Puerto Rican sea salt. So you have a little bit of the homeland actually in a jar that you can buy, and just, use it in moderation, and just keep it, just knowing that it came straight from the island. So
beautiful. And then you've got a fourth one there. What is this last one here?
The fourth one is my organic ground pepper, premium Organic, again, no artificial colors, no preservatives. I grind this fresh myself. So again, it's just to round out any culinary set you would have in your kitchen. You have your black pepper, you have your Puerto Rican sea salt, and then you have your adobo and your sazon. The adobo is organic. The sazon is natural. None of the 4 products have anything artificial in it, no preservatives. And with the exception of the actual salt itself, no salt.
Amazing. And whatever you're cooking, one of those 4 or a combination is going to be the correct answer. You know what I mean? There's
true.
nothing you can't put it on. So what are you putting it on? What do you like to cook at home?
Oh, I put it on everything. I like to marinate my meats with it. My primary go-to is I love home fries in the air fryer. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of peanut oil or a little bit of avocado oil and take some potatoes, cut them, put them in a bag, throw the seasonings in there, and then put them in the air fryer and cook them for about 20 minutes. This is when I'm trying to do a quick breakfast out the door. I throw that in while I'm in the shower. Once I come out, the food's done, throw an egg on it, and I'm out the door. But I also like it on my salmon. I do broiled salmon. Again, put a little bit of peanut oil or a little bit of avocado oil on the skin, and I dredge it in the adobo and the sazon because that skin gets crispy and it has that flavor on it and a little bit of the salt on top of that as well. Those flavors together with the salmon is just awesome. And you have it with lime cilantro rice.
Ooh.
And I also do my veggies with it, especially roasted broccoli and garlic.
I love this answer because I actually thought you were going to say something more like arroz con pollo or beans and rice or mofongo, which are like these traditional Puerto Rican dishes, and that's amazing. But you can bring these flavors to your breakfast with your eggs and your hash browns and, you know, your dinner with salmon. So I love that. There's nobody who can't really get excited about this. Talk a little bit about you. I was doing my homework, and from what I understand, at one point you were sleeping in your car.
That's very true. Yes.
So I'm not trying to put you on the spot, whatever you're comfortable saying, but it's amazing that you've gone from there to now you're sitting here with us in the studio with your own line of seasonings that came out of your head. So how did you get from point A to point Z?
I had a long-term marriage that ended, and in exiting from that relationship, I essentially ended up homeless within 30 days of deciding that things weren't going to continue. So I was couch surfing for a while, and what happened was over the next 3 years, I was going to burn through my money at a rate that I didn't want to. So I was able to get approved for a car loan, and I slept for my car for 4 months in the North Carolina summer while going to school for Tesla, working in a garage for 4 months. But
where did you sleep? Where did you park the car?
I would find little business parks, someplace where it wasn't so isolated that I was all the way by myself, that I knew that there were cameras around because they were dealing with freight. So I made myself visible, but at the same time, tried to keep myself protected. I camped out at truck stops in the parking lot, like of a Pilot Flying J or a Love Station, the occasional Walmart. I would move around a lot, so I wouldn't be consistently seen at one place, because then as a single woman, being out there like that, people get to watch you and try to figure out what your vulnerability is. So I kept moving around. I got myself a membership at Planet Fitness, so I went there every day to take a shower. I would get out from school. I'd be in school for 8 hours, working in a garage, get out from there, go to Planet Fitness, take a shower, change my clothes, grab myself something to eat, and then camp out in my car, and then in the morning get ready for work or school, and then just do the whole thing all over again.
I can't even believe that. Thank you for sharing that. I am exhausted. Are you exhausted telling me about that version of yourself?
I like to share the story because there's a lot of people feel hopeless when things happen, which put them in a situation that seems hopeless. And I like to share my difficulties and how I persevered through it and how good God is. Because sometimes they just need to hear that story that you can overcome things in life. You just have to have faith and keep pushing through. And, if you can, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Ooh, that's good. So what does it mean for you to be sitting here, single mom? I guess you've overcome so much. You've lived many lives, and now you have your own line of food products here. So you're such an overcomer. Like, does it mean more to you now? I mean, we talked about the flavor, but is it sweeter now? Is it more savory to you because you've had all these experiences? You've overcome so many things?
I don't think I'm there yet. I don't feel that I'm there yet. This is just still the beginning of the journey. I know that there's so much more that still I can do and it needs to be done. I'm actually looking to form a nonprofit through my company at this time called Bendición.
That means blessing in Spanish.
Yes. That was something, that you never leave the house without asking for the bendición. You always ask for that blessing before you went out into the world. And even though I'm not there yet with my company, what I do have, I want to share what I can as I scale, because there's people out there who can't wait until I'm on the shelves at a Whole Foods or something like that in order for me to help them. So I'm forming a nonprofit to see where I can help now as I can. We'll grow together. That's the way I see it.
I like that.
We will grow together. I will help you. As I grow, I can uplift.
Yeah.
So definitely trying to do that. But yeah, this is just the beginning.
Love that. Yes. And even seeing you and seeing your products is helping people. You're helping people by sharing your story right now. You know what I mean? Because it's so inspiring. So where can people get Bodega Flava today?
Right now, you can only buy it in Florida through my website, which is bodegaflava.com. You can reach out through any of my social medias, which is Bodega Flava NYC, and that's from Facebook to TikTok to Instagram. But I'm always popping up somewhere, and if you come up to me and ask me for a sample, I will gladly give you one because I carry those as well.
You're the lady with the samples in her purse. I love that. Okay, so you've told us about some really big challenges you've had, even with housing. What was the biggest challenge in starting this business?
Patience. Patience, because I believe in it, but the pace at which a business scales is out of your control. So you have to have faith and be consistent, because failure is inevitable, but permanent failure comes from giving up. So as long as I overcome my failures and keep pushing forward, eventually I will achieve success.
Absolutely. On my way driving here, I was listening to an interview with a comedian, and he said that his success is just all of his failures stacked on top of each other.
Very true.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm so inspired. I never wanted to start a seasoning company, but now I'm like, what can I do if she can do that? So who taught you how to cook?
My mother was the primary, of course. She was, I watched her cook. It was there were too many of us, and because back in the days, the families were single mom with 7 kids, 8 kids, 9 kids, 10 kids. We're going back to the 60s and 70s. So there was too many of us for us to hang around the kitchen. But I used to watch her cook, and during holidays, we'd get involved in that. So it's odd because I didn't learn so much of what she was making was actually had its origins in Senegalese food until I had went to my first Senegalese restaurant in San Francisco when I was out in California about 2 years ago. I was like, Mom used to make this.
Wow.
The whole time I thought it was Puerto Rican food, and that's why I couldn't find any Puerto Rican cookbook. But that's what I was talking about, the West African influence in Puerto Rican food. But my mother was the primary, my grandmother as well. And I had a female family member who was a mentor to me. She taught me a lot of the basics as far as the arroz con gandules and making the penne, the holiday favorites. It's like you have to know these. You cannot, I don't know if it flies nowadays, but it's kind of like you had to know how, as a Latina, Puerto Rican woman, you had to learn how to sew, and you had to learn how to make rice. You had to know how to feed your family. So, but it was the women in my family. And there's a part of everything that I've learned from them in the kitchen is in my company.
Wow. What do you love about being Puerto Rican?
The resiliency in our DNA. We are overcomers, and I attribute a lot of my tenacity to that. When I read our history and I've seen what we've been subjected to, and not only the island of Puerto Rico, but Tainos throughout the Caribbean, just the oppression and the cruelty and where our cultures are at today. And a lot of us are still fighting against things that were put in place so many years ago, but we overcome it and we fight back. And it's that resiliency and that tenacity that I love and appreciate so much. But I think everybody has that in their DNA. We're just really loud about it, though.
You guys are loud.
We're just really loud about it, though.
Oh, my husband will say, I'm not loud, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most Puerto Rican thing about you?
Oh, wow. My clapback.
Oh, I love a clapback. You're sassy. You're spicy.
That's it. I said, I will clap back without missing a beat. And I'd be like, who said that? Oh, that was me. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's amazing. Oh, my gosh. This is phenomenal. And I completely agree. You are just getting started. So thanks for talking to us. Is there anything we didn't mention that you want to touch on?
In regards to Bodega Flava, I just would love everyone's support. Please visit my website, bodegaflava.com. Florida-only orders, but if you have familia outside of Florida, you can send them packs. We'll be hopefully national by the end of the year, next year. That's what I'm shooting for. Other than that, be kind to each other. Things are too tough nowadays. There's a lot of people having a really, really rough time. There really is no space for negativity in anybody's life right now.
Yeah.
Just find a way to be kind to at least one person a day.
That's great. And you don't know if the person you're dealing with slept in their car.
That's true. That is very true. You never know what someone else is, what they're dealing with, what kind of day they're having. No one could tell. No one knew I was sleeping in my car. So, just try and be kind and just don't entertain negativity.
Love it. Thank you so much. No negativity here. I hope you make it to Puerto Rico very soon.
Thank you so much.
And bring some of that spice with you.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Ivette Rivera is the founder of Loiza Foods, whose signature product is a line of seasonings called Bodega Flava. She shared her recipe, and it is a whole bar. Here's the title: Ivette's infamous arroz con gandules with sweet and hot Italian sausage meatballs, okay? Just in time for Hispanic Heritage Month, which kicks off on September 15th. But is there really ever a bad time to make that recipe? I don't think so. You can find it on our website, thezestpodcast.com. I'm Dalia Colon. I produce The Zest with Andrew Lucas and Alexandria Ebron. The Zest is a production of WUSF. Copyright 2025, part of the NPR network.